Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Success Academy. Now, the Success Podcast rather. Right. So, we're here today with a new guest. So, we have done videos before with Hasib, we've done with Kavinka, but we have someone totally new today, and that's because we are talking about a different kind of topic, a topic that falls under his expertise. So, let me introduce himself.
Hi. So I'm Ayoob. I've been coaching for around 4 years now. I'm a powerlifter. I was mainly into fitness through bodybuilding actually, but then I got into strength sport and I fell in love with strength training. But currently, out of just wanting to test a little bit of endurance, I'm a coach at CrossFit Salon. And that's like my current standing and like my background with fitness. But I'm happy to be here, excited to discuss the topics today.
I don't know, where in that did I hear that you've been friends with me for like 20 years?
I don't,
That's what you lead with.
really?
Is it 20? No? It's
No, that's it. Great.
18.
Since
Since we were 6 years.
6, yeah. About
Damn.
19 years, yeah. We've known each other for 19 years.
Damn, it's a long time.
Yeah. We've been working out a lot, not too recently.
Yeah, I have. That's because I have bouts of working out.
Yeah, clearly.
I have like 2 months where I do work out and then 2 months where I don't. Right now, I'm in the not working out phase.
On and off working out phase. Yeah.
I was on a diet, right? I was on a...
What, 2 or 3, 4 milkshakes every day, that.
No. Now I was on a very serious diet. I was eating 2 meals a day, and then I was exercising. I was working out. Then I got gastritis.
Yes.
That's what happens to me, bro. Like both the times that I tried to do a diet, both the times I ended up getting gastritis.
Yes, you're not eating now. Obviously, you're gonna get a gastritis.
But isn't
That
that
is like the cause or the leading cause of gastritis. Not eating.
but isn't like intermittent fasting, like where you eat 8 hours?
You're doing less than that, right? And I would say even your eating windows, you are eating still very little. You may have been surviving on like maybe coffees or your milkshakes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was not eating a lot, and I actually cut down on my favorite food.
Yeah, and I presume your energy would have dropped significantly.
Yeah. And no, the thing is, I wasn't eating breakfast in the morning.
Okay.
So I was I used to eat breakfast at like 11 o'clock. So I used to come to the gym, work out, and then go to eat breakfast.
That's fine. But I think your whole gastritis thing would have just been that you have that probably significant bouts of not eating at all.
And then not sleeping as well, and the stress and everything.
Yeah.
Alright, so we are not here to talk about our sicknesses.
Wait, 25 men, not 40.
We are here to talk about a different topic today. So, what is the topic that we are going to be talking about, Ayoob?
So, today we're going to discuss, I would say in general, it's how like fitness should be implemented to school children. And whether the current like level of it is enough or not. Whether it needs to be increased, should be decreased.
So, the topic in specific is, should school children be encouraged to engage in sports during their school time? To what extent do you agree or disagree? Yeah. So again, with regards, since this is an IELTS topic or an IELTS essay topic, we have to go about answering this in a way where we can structure it well, right? So if we say we agree with this and that school children should do more sports in school or should engage in a sport in school, then we should give 2 points as to why we agree. Then we can also discuss 2 points as to why we disagree, right? So that is the flow of today's podcast. And of course, after that, we will also give you some general tips on health and wellness. Simply because this is a very common topic. Like we had to go through about 8 or 9 different topics to actually niche this down and then choose this one. So we thought we'll discuss a few more general tips on health and wellness. That way, whatever topic you get, you can write about it using some of the tips you get from here, right? So actually, one of the reasons we are doing this podcast is that people who come for classes and people who are doing IELTS don't have points to write in their essay. That's the main problem.
Makes sense.
Right? So that's the main purpose of this discussion as well, to give them points, give them examples to write about. Right? So they can say, Coach Ayoob said this.
Maybe.
Right. So, okay. Getting to the topic. What do you think? Should it be mandatory in schools for a child to do a sport?
Yeah, I think 100%. And I think there are maybe two kinds of kids that are there in school. There are, when it comes to sports, right? Or maybe let's say three, right? So there are people who are like, okay, I'm going to do sports. And they go and they try. They realize, okay, I'm good at it. And they keep doing it, right? If you take maybe the two of us, right? You were vice captain of the badminton team. I didn't do any sports, right?
Yeah, how did you turn out to be a fitness coach?
Let me get to point two, right? Point two are people who would like to get into sports or do sports, right?
Yeah.
They too.
Yeah, technical difficulties, guys. This reminds me of our first day.
Okay, so I'll just reiterate it back again. So there's probably three kinds of kids in school, right? So you have the kid that tries sports, they're good at sports, so they keep continuing it, right? So someone like you ended up being vice captain in the badminton team, right? Then there's probably people who would like the idea of being good at sports. They're interested in sports. They think, okay, it will be cool if I could do it. But then they kind of like go and try a little bit, and then they realize their coordination is shit, right? They don't pick up things as quick as maybe some other people who are very naturally good at sports, right? And then they develop this fear to kind of get into it, right? And then there's probably third people who are like, okay, I don't want to do sports, right?
There were a lot of those.
A lot of them, right? I would say you're one.
Yeah.
I'm probably type 2.
Yeah.
Other people we don't really associate too much with are type 3.
Do we know anyone who didn't do a sport? Oh yeah, we do. One of our best friends is someone who never did a sport. The guy.
No, he has talent.
In sports?
We're not talking
My
about
sales guy.
Yes. Okay.
Oh yeah, he's one of our best friends, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that would be the three types of kids in school, right? And if you would maybe take the kind of different levels of where sport is kind of pushed at schools, if you take like maybe the rugby players, right? Those are the guys who are made to train like twice a day, every day. Morning training, gym in the evening, maybe something in the interval also, we don't know, right? And then they're like overdriven with this, right? I would say about 99% of like amazingly fit, jacked and ripped rugby players we know in school are far from that right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? They're maybe even borderline obese.
Yeah.
They've got like sick of working out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
On the other spectrum, let's say of that third type of people, right? The only exposure they got was like that once a week PT period we had. Right? That too also, that was just kind of, nothing was really done much, right? We were told to go and play. Nothing was really pushed and told, okay, this needs to be done, that needs to be done, etc., right? So I would say there's two spectrums of too much being pushed to kids and then nothing at all being pushed to the people who need a little bit of extra push.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah?
Correct.
Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that, because in our schools, it was not mandatory to do a sport. It was voluntary. So if you wanted to do a sport, we would do a sport, right? And I think we were proactive enough to go and try out different sports. I went and tried out multiple sports. I think you did too. Like I went and tried out cricket, I went for football, I went for rugby, I went for squash. So what I ended up doing well was badminton. Badminton and squash I did well, but then I had to give up squash to focus more on badminton. So, but for everyone else, it was not really a mandatory thing. It never counted when we were applying for prefectship. It never counted for anything else that we did in school. So sports was not a mandatory thing. And as a result of that, there were students who, like you said, did not do anything, any sports. And not doing sports, now since we are only talking about physical activity, I'll keep it at sports, but I also refer to other extracurricular activities too. There were kids who just came to school to study. which I think really dumbed down their school experience. Yeah, there's nothing to look forward to. There was nothing fun about their school life. And I think even though, let's say you didn't do a sport to, let's say, to become captain or vice captain or be a part of a team, we did still played a lot of football, rugby during the interval. We cut periods and we were always just in the grounds playing. And as a result of that, I think we were really healthy. We were able to socialize better, right? We had a lot of fun. We have a lot of things to talk about. We had a lot of experiences in school. So I think that was something very important, right? And if we talk about the benefits, now of course playing in the interval and then cutting periods and playing doesn't really count as doing a sport to a proper level. But what do you think are the benefits of making it mandatory to do a sport?
I think first off the bat would be just being forced to do something you're not very comfortable or confident doing.
Do you say that in like a good way or a bad way?
In a good way, Okay. As in like
it builds your determination,
your perseverance,
okay.
your ability to kind of just, okay, this is uncomfortable to do, but like I need to just do it and get it over, right? But that's just, I feel, like a basic life skill.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of the things you have to do from day to day are things you don't want to do at all.
Yeah.
But you just have to do it. Right? So you definitely have to build that. It's not, I wouldn't even say it's mental capacity, it's just a mindset of, okay.
It builds perseverance.
Perseverance, because sometimes it's not even difficult. It's just like annoying little tasks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not difficult for you to do. You just need to do it.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, right? And that's what training would require in a sports setting, right? You need to show up, you need to do the same things again and again and again consistently, right? And small things, eat well, sleep well, come do it. Every day is not going to be a hard session. Some days are just going to be very low intensity, low volume, maybe even a boring session, but those things carry over to the final day on the pitch, right? So I see that's the first thing, right? Consistency.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective, because when I asked you that question, I was thinking more along the lines of it'll help a child be fit, build teamwork, whatever. But this perseverance, consistency was something that I don't think a lot of people would have thought about.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a good one. So if you're writing this essay and you're agreeing with this point, saying that children should do a sport in school, one thing is definitely perseverance and consistency that you can talk about and say, by engaging in a sport, by doing something that they didn't necessarily want to do, it will build consistency and build the ability to persevere through tasks in life. Great.
That's one.
Yeah.
I would say two, if it's a team sport, it's learning just to like move with people.
That is, yes.
Manage people, manage your emotions. If you're playing a team sport or even an individual sport, you need to be able to not react. Right? Just because you lose 1 point doesn't mean you lost the game. Right? You can't let that small moment in the game ruin the rest of the game for you, or ruin it for the rest of your team. Right?
And you also learn leadership skills.
Yeah.
You learn how to manage people. That's really great. So team sports are amazing. We've had examples in our school life as well, where although people did play a team sport, when it comes to, let's say, getting the captaincy, getting a certain position on the field, there was a lot of conflicts. Why do you think that was a result of? Now, everybody, like, this is a very generic point, right? Team sports help build teamwork, right? But it also creates a lot of conflicts between students, between parents, between school management. This is something that people don't talk about. This is maybe unrelated to the topic itself, but maybe we can elaborate on that a bit too.
But I feel like if you look at it very closely, right?
Yeah.
At the school level, at least. Maybe even at national levels. But if you look at it at school level, these interpretations of I should be getting the captaincy, I should be vice captain, I should be whatever, almost never comes from the child.
That's also true, yes. It's always the parent.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't think of it right now. 100% at a school level, I can't remember any conflict that has started where the kid has come up and said, hey, I should get captaincy. They have either gone home and said, I didn't get captaincy, and then suddenly the parents are coming and, drama.
Yeah.
And we're all too familiar with that, even from maybe our own batch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
One guy left school because he didn't get
vice captaincy or captaincy, right? That was rugby team. I can't remember.
That was rugby team.
Rugby team, right? I think there was a little bit of a drama with even your badminton captaincy, vice captaincy. There was a little bit of a chief from the other end, right?
Yeah.
Man.
Why did he leave school because of
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and maybe that seed that gets planted as a child continues as they go to national levels, maybe corporate levels, positions everywhere. But yeah, just
and
to get
it's very
that point.
parent driven. I mean, even now it's worse, I believe, because I deal a lot with kids and I teach kids and I see how much the parents get involved.
Yeah.
It's too much. Children are just mollycoddled now.
Yeah.
And that defeats the whole purpose of doing a sport. A sport
Probably.
is done to make you tough, to help you persevere, to help you face challenges by yourself. If parents are coming and trying to face those problems
Yeah, and
for
I would
you.
say so. The two of us also have this perspective.
Yeah.
Probably very due to the fact that our parents just told you deal with it. We are not getting. They'd come to a PTA meeting and be like, mera gahanna.
Yeah. My dad's exact words in Sinhala used to be Karakila Vatenna.
If he does something wrong, just you do what you need to do. That's it.
No, bro, you can't even scold a child, no.
I was always in the wrong. Now it's like the opposite. The teacher is in the wrong. This one's in the wrong. The child is always like perfect.
Crazy. Now teachers are being taken to courts and all of that. But anyway, right? Definitely. So teamwork is definitely one of the pillars of doing a sport, right? You get to manage people, you get to build your leadership skills, and these skills really transfer well when you go into the corporate world too.
Yeah.
Right? You know how to take a leadership position, you know how to manage people, you know how to deal with your emotions. People that go and get depressed, people that go and get sad later on in life, most of the time are people who didn't really do a sport, didn't engage in some physical activity while they were in school, right? So yeah, definitely teamwork, building leadership are some of the other skills that you can mention when talking about the positives of this topic, right? Okay, what else? So we've spoken about perseverance and consistency. We have also spoken about teamwork and leadership skills.
Yeah.
What are the other benefits of doing a sport in school?
I think outside the parent, the obvious one is that you get fit and you're healthy. Right?
Let's elaborate on that a bit
And
more as well.
I'll jump on that. So basically, I'll take it from a point of diabetes.
Oh damn, okay.
Okay. So there are two types of diabetes,
Okay,
right? So there's type 1
okay,
and there's type 2.
okay,
Okay. Type 1 is a diabetes that you are born with.
okay,
Right? So your body does not create insulin
okay,
by itself. So you have to take insulin injections, right, to manage your diabetes, right?
okay,
Type 2 is the diabetes that kind of gets enforced onto you by your habits, and you're getting overweight, right?
Okay.
No muscle mass, no strength, cardiovascular fitness is very low, right? Then your body goes into a little bit of a place where it's called, you have insulin resistance,
okay,
right?
okay,
So then your body doesn't create insulin because it's got into this position,
okay,
right?
okay,
Type 2 diabetes used to be called adult onset diabetes, right? Because it only used to occur to adults that were going into their 30s, 35s, early 30s, late 20s, that kind of thing, right? So it was called appropriately adult onset diabetes, right? It was changed to type 2 diabetes once kids started getting it,
Oh wow, okay, okay,
right?
yeah,
And I think, being physically active is going to be a huge factor to that, right? Another
so how insulin resistance happens when you don't have a good physical
Just to put it very
activity.
simply, let's say when you're in a very unhealthy state,
Okay.
right, you become insulin resistant.
Okay.
Right, your liver doesn't create it. Right,
Oh,
to
wow.
manage the carbohydrates that are coming into your body.
Okay.
Once it gets turned into glucose and glycogen,
Yeah.
then it needs to be kind of managed and sent through the bloodstream. It doesn't create that insulin,
Wow. Okay. Okay.
which is naturally there for
Okay.
everyone, unless you are
Which is natural there for everyone.
unless you are a type 1 diabetic.
Which means you're
You don't create insulin
at all.
at all.
Okay.
And you need to have those injections to survive.
Okay. Okay.
Right? And anyone who gets diabetes, they need to take their, diabetic
yeah.
tablets, their insulin injections to be able to manage this, right? Which can also be reversed.
Through
type 2,
exercise.
through exercise, through proper diet, sleeping well, getting your body back to its main functions, you can reverse type 2 diabetes. Right?
Got it.
So again, type 2 diabetes was only occurring
In
to
adults.
adults in their early 30s, maybe even late 30s or late 20s, right?
Okay.
And that name of adult onset diabetes was changed to type 2 after kids started getting diabetic and becoming pre-diabetic, right?
Oh wow.
Now this has a lot of things to do with not just not doing sports, but also like surrounding environments, right? So if one of your parents are diabetic or obese, right, the kid has a 50% chance of becoming obese.
Wow.
Right? If both your parents are obese, that chance goes up to almost 80%.
Damn.
Right? So like your upbringing and the environment you're brought up in has a huge role in you turning obese.
Okay. Is that because of, let's say, biological causes, or is it because of the environment you live in kind of builds your mentality so that...
I believe it's second, the latter of that. The environment and
So it's not a biological, like it's not a birth thing.
for the most part, no.
No. Damn.
Right?
Okay.
And this is just it's not like set in stone, these are just correlations
Okay.
found,
okay.
right? Okay, this type of parents had this kind of kid, these types of parents had this type of kid, right?
Yeah,
If the
yeah,
parents
yeah.
were obese, the kids were also highly likely
To be obese.
to be obese.
That makes sense. So if you have parents who are obese,
Yeah.
that's what you're used to at home.
Yeah.
You don't do exercise, you don't really do any sports.
And then if I
naturally-
take it again back to our personal experiences, right? Your parents used to be both forces,
Yeah.
right? They made you
yeah,
run.
bro. my dad, when I was in like grade 4 or 5, used to wake me up at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning and then make me run. Right? I'm in grade 5. And then I used to be running and I'm crying, right? I don't want to run. He's like, Duanda, manaduk run. He used to hit Man, but that, at the time I hated him.
Yeah.
Right? But then later on I realized like, wow, the fitness or that mindset for fitness that he instilled in me,
Yeah.
right? It paid off later on in life. My mother also used to wake up and they used to do exercises, bro. Like they used to make me do jumping jacks in the morning. And I was like, why?
Yeah, so similarly, my parents were like absurdly active people. Always
Yeah,
going on hikes, they used to make time for gym,
Yeah.
etc. While we were still kids,
Yeah.
right? So that also played a part in us being very active, playing sports. They made sure they put us into sports, like
Yeah,
no choice.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we also found enjoyment in it,
Hmm.
right? To be able to kind of see the capacity of your body, see what you can do, like the satisfaction, man. Like recently, couple of months back, I finally hit my first muscle up, and like anyone who's like hit their first muscle up much, and they're like, there, cool, I can die in peace.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. Yeah.
And I think probably from a young age, if you've never kind of pushed yourself to do that, you'd never go to do that, right?
Exactly.
There was an interesting thing, I heard it from Shoaib Jibbar, where he was citing another study of how neurologically in the brain, right, it would rather stay in a known discomfort than move into an unknown comfort. Right? So if you're someone who's never exercised, right, your health is declining, you feel shit, right? You feel shit, right? Your mood is low, no energy, can't do anything. Your brain, as almost a survival instinct, it would I'd rather stay in that state than start exercising and make that
Yeah.
change. Because change is tough.
Very true. And you even in someone who is into sports might feel that if they take a break now, I'm the best example for that. when I work out hard. Like I want to hit the gym for like 1.5 hours, and in that time I really want to do something that makes me feel
Like you worked out.
like I have worked out, right? But then like 3-4 months into it, when I get busy and I'm not sleeping, I want to stop. And then I do stop. And then it's very hard to get back into it. So then I'm just thinking, okay, let me put it off to tomorrow. Let me put it off now. Actually, the past 2 days, I've got a decent amount of sleep. I've slept for like 7-8 hours the past 2 days. But I haven't worked out the past 2 days either.
Okay.
When I easily could have, because I was fresh. I was, in the mood. But like you said, getting back to it and getting into that discomfort of again doing 100 push-ups or whatever, it's just not the most comforting thought. But I know if I start again, it'll be good.
Yeah. So
That's tricky.
definitely. So I think like getting back to your point of the benefits outside of the perseverance, consistency, and then the whole teamwork and being able to manage people. It's just your health, man.
It's being away from sicknesses, diabetes, cholesterol.
Yeah.
People get heart attacks as a result of that. So as kids, if you do a sport, you can stay away from diseases like that later on.
And it's also like, let's say, if you've never, so let's say you went to school through ages 6 to 18, right? And you've never exercised or worked out in that time frame. 100% somewhere in your life after that, you're going to have to start working on your health, right?
Yeah.
Now, for someone like I'm in the industry, so it's not really that tough for me. I'm very active. Which I'm very grateful for. I don't have to put a lot of effort into just staying baseline healthy, right? But someone like you, just getting back into working out itself is not a foreign concept to you, right?
And I know what to do.
You know what to do. You know what you like to do.
Yeah.
You know what you don't like to do. You can always just get up and do something. It's not like I've never exercised before. I don't know what to do. It's not this completely new thing I suddenly have to add into my life after 20, 25, 30 years of living. Right? It's just something you can go back to.
Yeah,
it's
I
always
can't
there.
even imagine what it's like for people who have never done a sport in their lives. That's crazy. And what do you even look back on your school life for after that?
Come to class. Going back home.
Man.
I feel like we'll upset a lot of people.
No, but it's true. So what we are saying. Okay, so those are the points for the topic, as in why it should be made mandatory for children to do sports in schools, to build up a mindset of perseverance and to build up the habits of consistency, to engage in team sports, to build teamwork, to know how to network and get along with people, and also to build your leadership skills. And finally, to be healthy, to stay away from sicknesses, to not get diabetes, cholesterol later on in your life. So we've discussed 3 points. In an essay for IELTS, you would only need to write 2, right? So these are some of the points, some of the examples you can use. Now, why would someone disagree with this topic?
I'm a little befuddled.
Okay. So I think the first point we spoke about for the advantages can also be doubled down as a disadvantage. Because some students, when they are going to school, might genuinely be affected by the fact that they are forced to do a sport.
Fair enough.
Right? Now, maybe we can't relate to that. But there are students who might actually be going through some kind of problem, or I don't know, they're just afraid of the fact that people might laugh at them if they try to do a sport. They just realize they're so uncoordinated that doing a sport is not for them. And they might feel insecure. I think that's the way to phrase it if you're writing it. Children might feel insecure about being forced to do a sport, right? What do you think about that? Do you think that...
I would agree. Actually, earlier in the conversation, I want to bring out a different topic of like coming back to that 3 types of kids things, right? So now, since we're coming down back to that 3rd type of kid where they don't want to do sports, that kind of thing. I think it's important for those ones to just be kind of taught just basic fitness literacy. just, okay, if you want to be healthy, right, you need to be doing X, Y, Z, right? You need to do a little bit of strength training, a little bit of cardio, right? Go to sleep, eat your protein, move around, don't just sit in the class. At least in the interval, go out and play something. And just that kind of thing, right? Because again, sports are not for everyone. Being a leader is not for everyone. Some people are pretty happy just being part of the team.
Yeah.
But either way, they should have some sort of knowledge base that, hey, I need to look after my health, even if I'm not doing a sport in school, even if I don't want to do sport in school, because there's like a million ways you can go about doing resistance training and cardio.
Yeah, I mean, for example, going to the gym doesn't require you to be insecure necessarily, because it's an individual.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of people who are very insecure to go to the gym, especially women.
Oh yeah.
I know from my own experience with my own clients how slowly they get better, but when they first get to a gym, they'll find
They're
like one
insecure.
small box
They're very insecure.
where they'll just stay in that box and do their thing in
Yeah.
that box and go home and
Yeah, I know. Even I know some girls who they don't even go to the gym to
Yeah.
even start because
Yeah.
they're so insecure about the way they look and how it would look if they started
Yeah.
working out. So yes, so that is in school especially. Now when you become an adult, maybe there are workarounds to that, but in school, very few workarounds.
Yeah.
So when you go to the school gym, and school children can be especially cruel.
100%.
I think we can attest
Yes,
to that. Right? Because in school, you are immature. Everyone is immature. Right? And hopefully people grow out of it when they're adults. But when you're in school, you just have no filter to what you say. You make fun of people. Bullying is, I don't know, people in the Western countries make a big deal of bullying. But I don't know, in our schools, bullying was just like an everyday thing.
Yeah, I
we
mean-
just make fun of people for how they look, how they speak.
Kids are like little drunkards, right?
Yeah.
They just say whatever comes to their mouth.
Man.
But yeah, I think so. In addition to those kind of almost theoretical classes, there should be a bit more engaging those PT or those physical
Correct.
therapy sessions, right?
Correct.
Physical class, physical whatever, right? And it should probably be done more than once a week.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I
get
remember
PT
we used to
once
sit
a
and wait for that one period the entire week.
That's why we started cutting class.
Yeah.
Like, okay, they are giving us only one.
I
Let us take like
remember
2 or
one
3.
year it got set for us the period just before interval.
Oh, yeah.
And we were over the moon because we had like a double interval.
And they don't taught us anything. They
Yeah,
just
they
let
just
us-
say, "Yeah, go play,"
Let us
whatever.
loose in the grounds.
Yeah, exactly. So that needs to be almost, I guess, a little bit more coached. Or,
I feel like kids nowadays are a bit more disciplined than we were. Don't you think that?
I don't know, man. I think like post-COVID also, like the school culture and the school environment has
because
changed absurdly.
I remember, Machang. Now, if they took us to the grounds and they tried to do some of the games or activities that now I do with my students, do you think we would have just stood there and done like a running game or whatever? No, I feel
don't
like
know.
we would have just run and realized, screw the teacher, just gonna play football.
Maybe.
Right?
But I mean, they didn't try that. They would have tried that maybe primary time, but not in middle school.
No, what I'm
college
saying
level.
is now, with some of the students that I teach, we do like a lot of games and activities and stuff, which I don't think back then we would have been.
But if you take so, I think it's probably just the teacher. Because remember when Dimitra sir was our PT?
Oh, yeah.
We were on point. We didn't move an inch.
That's because he was strict.
Exactly. And and he was strict.
Yeah.
He made us be in line during the PT things, and we enjoyed whatever he did
Yeah,
in the
true,
grounds
true,
those
true,
times, right? He made sure everyone
Yeah,
took part.
true.
No one was left out. No one could just sit and wait.
Yeah.
Um,
Even the fatties had to.
yeah,
run.
everyone had to do something, right?
That was fun.
That's probably more based on the teacher than the kid.
So, okay. So, one of the points is insecurity that children would feel when trying to work in a group setting, when trying to go and do a sport, how they look like when they are working out or doing that sport, the level of uncoordination they have, that would all play up to their insecurity. What's another point as to why people would disagree with doing a sport in school? The other point would be, I suppose, that it interferes with their studies. I think
I was
that's
just gonna say the same thing. And then I think it goes back to then type 1 of kid, like the rugby player, right? I remember one of our friends' dad was same in our school, and he did about 3-4 sports at the same time. Right? He was rugby fullback. He played first 11 cricket. He played tennis. And at that time, the sports coaches and everyone gave that capacity for kids to do multiple different things. Whereas right now, at least when we were in school, like if you play rugby, you can't do anything else. You can't do any other sport. You can't be a multi-sport athlete in school. No chance. Like zero. And they're definitely being overdosed way too much and taken up way too seriously. Because I mean, you look at the Sri Lanka schools rugby, it's the biggest league in the country. Not even the clubs are as big, right? So there's probably too much importance and too much pressure being piled up on these kids when they're just like 15, 16. And they probably get on this high pedestal as well, thinking they're it, and they get to leave school and realize nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, that's true. And coming back to the studies, as a result of what you said, they neglect their studies.
100%. They're too tired, right?
They're too tired. They don't want to study because, like you said, when they get on that high pedestal, they feel like they don't need to study to then do better in life.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, for some people that might be true, but for the majority it is not.
Yeah.
You need to get through your O-levels, you need to get through your A-levels, because if you don't get through your O-levels, you can't play rugby for school, you can't play badminton for school, you can't do a sport for school.
And how many stars in our school
have to
leave because they failed O-levels?
Exactly.
Right? They had these high hope dreams, I become first 15 star, this, that.
Yeah.
Then they failed their O-levels and, school told them, get out.
Yeah, we're taking rugby here as an example, but it's true of any sport, cricket or badminton. Of course, anything other than rugby or cricket would not have got the same stardom or fame as maybe the other sports. So I guess those are the two main sports we can focus on. But again, like even in badminton and all, there were students who went up to, now there's a guy who played with us that's going to the Olympics this year.
Nice.
Yeah. But what's different about that boy is he did his studies also well. It's a smart guy. Swimmer friend?
Swimmer.
Swimmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how much he's been let down and disappointed by the school
Sri Lankan
administration.
authorities, but he number 1 swimmer in Sri Lanka, and also I think got 9 A's for
London
O-levels.
O-levels, sorry.
And then A-levels also he performed
he did his
well.
A-levels in the middle of one of his meets,
Yeah,
right? They got the paper to him.
Mad guy.
What a guy.
What a guy.
Akalanka Pierce.
But for most students, that's not possible. Most students, if they're doing a sport, they focus more on the sport and not on their studies because they don't understand the gravity of their studies while they're in school. And as a result of that, their studies get neglected. And then later on in life, that becomes a problem. Because if you don't have your O-levels, your A-levels, 90% of the people would have a problem with that. Right? So, you see, when we talk about succeeding in life, most people say you don't need to have a good educational background. Most people say, hey, if you're street smart, you know how to run a business, you can succeed. But that may be true for like 10% of people. Yeah. For 90% of people, they need to get through their O-levels, their A-levels, their degree in the best way possible. And so if you're in school and you're focusing on sports and you don't pay attention to your studies, then the chances of you succeeding...
Yeah. I agree. So, I mean,
really
especially like, to put it very bluntly, if you're Sri Lankan, right? If you're coming from our country, if you have our passport, right? You need some sort of paper credentials to move your weight around, right?
Definitely.
You can't go abroad. If you want to go abroad or do things like that, right? You need those paper qualifications, right? So, like, I mean, both of us also, we just have our baseline degrees. We haven't gone beyond that.
No, see, but for us, like I said, now, I am a believer that you don't need to really perform well or perform extremely well at school or your degree or whatever to do
Exactly.
something
We've just
good in
got our
life.
baseline degree.
Yeah.
That is there.
Yeah.
But we haven't gone to try to pursue further
Yeah.
than that. We just have our baseline to
Yeah. Yeah.
keep and just work
Yeah.
from it, right?
But 90% of the people are not like us, right? Now, again, we come down to being. I'm not trying to brag or anything like that. But what I'm saying is now, you're someone who got through your O-levels, your A-levels well, you got your degree. Heck, you landed one of the best jobs in the country and you ended up leaving it. Right? Bro, I'm telling you, like 99.9% of people wouldn't do. I wouldn't do that.
Maybe.
Right? That's next level. But again, I feel like, don't you feel like the decision you made was because of the ability to persevere and the ability to be sure of yourself
Exactly.
from doing a sport, right?
But that's the thing, right? So, I didn't do a sport.
But you quit for a sport.
Technically, so but I think where I would come in for that kind of student education position for those, not the people who are very good at sports, or the people who are kind of they would like to be good at sports, or the people who are not doing sports at all. Those kind of things. For me personally, I didn't do sports because of insecurities.
Okay.
I didn't even try to do sports. I didn't even try because of insecurities. Right? Because of coordination issues. Because I'm not very athletic naturally. Right? Fortunately for me, somehow through my social media, through my Instagram, I started following the right kind of people that kind of educated me to kind of, hey, just do shit. Just, don't worry about this thing, just try, etc., etc., etc. So when I left school, I was actually kind of almost slapped with a huge serving of regret across my face for not about not just doing, but not trying. Like if I tried and I still sucked, fine, right? But I didn't even try, right? So that kind of turned me to like, yo, I'm not gonna wake up one day 30 years old and say I didn't try shit.
100%.
And that's what triggered me to go into, test myself, compete at powerlifting now, compete in these other competitions down south, all these CrossFit competitions, like that. That mindset of am I good enough, did I perform well, did I not perform well, is completely out. I'm just doing it. And I also kind of have that mindset, okay, if I try it long enough, I will get good at it. Where, before I thought, okay, I do not have this skill. Whereas now that mindset is, okay, if I just repeat it enough, I will get the skill. It's just about practice and just doing it over and over and over and over again. It's not about natural talent.
100%. So I think when if someone were to disagree with this topic, the two things that they can write is feeling insecure, and then being insecure about how you look like when you're doing the sport, how uncoordinated you are. All that can add into the insecurity part of this paragraph.
I maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but you can probably bring that topic telling about insecurity and say, instead of making sports mandatory, you can almost give the kids a bit of life coaching, or confidence is not something you're born with. You can build it. You can try to do it. It's not forced on you, but give it a try. That kind of thing.
And the second thing is what we just spoke about studies, about neglecting your studies if you are doing a sport, right? So those are the two things that you can write if you are saying, or if you are disagreeing that sports should be made mandatory. All right. So I think you have enough points here, you have enough examples here to really write an essay for either side. If you agree, you have 2 points. If you disagree, you have 2 points. So we'll also speak about a few generic points about health and wellness, simply because, like I said, this topic is very common. And if you need to write any more points, any more examples, hopefully the next 15 to 20 minutes of this podcast will be of value to you, right? Okay. So a lot of people, right, who are overweight, right, who are unfit, say that it's a genetic problem, right? Okay. That it has nothing to do with them, the fact that they are fat and, look terrible, right? Do you think that that is the case, or do you think that they're just not making an effort?
I wouldn't frame it as they're not making an effort. Um, for some people, like I said, now if you've never done anything since the time you were born, actually getting into that is like a huge barrier mentally, more than physically. There are very interesting cases, man. Like from a lot of the people I've met, there are some. There was a guy who didn't want to work out because he was insecure and shy to sweat.
What?
It's the most. I know it might sound absurd to you, but these are like how people are like framed things in their mind.
Okay.
There are like extremely. Let's say that you have a very shy personality, and this is a guy, yeah, not a girl.
Damn.
And like he didn't want to work out in a public gym or anything because he doesn't want to sweat and look sweaty or something like that, right? So there are those kinds of people as well. There are like very like, at least in their heads, there are these like real blocks, right? That is kind of blocking them from taking action, right? Which takes a very kind of slow and crafted and you need to be very understanding and very patient with these kinds of people if you're coaching them, right? I'm just saying from my perspective, right? I think some of them might also be ridiculed from their family, like, hey, what are you doing, blah blah blah, and as much as it's told in good nature, it's not very helpful. It only makes them feel more bad about themselves. It makes them feel more insecure, right? Because you keep calling them fat and shit.
So are you saying bullying in school should be stopped?
That's a different topic. But that is that one thing, right? Yeah. From a more scientific perspective, if you want to lose fat, right, or if you want to get fit or you want to lose some body fat, you need to move into a calorie deficit, right? Basically, the food you eat gives you energy, right? That is measured in what we call calories, right? Everyone to survive has a maintenance level of calories. You can go above, so that's a surplus, or you can go in a deficit, that's below, right? If you go into a deficit, you will lose body fat, right? There was only one study that I've read that there is actually one like gene of people that even in a deficit, they don't lose body fat, but it's an extremely rare case, right? Absurdly rare, right? So it probably doesn't apply to anyone listening to this, probably, right? To get into that deficit, you need to be working out. You need to be managing your food in some way. You need to be sleeping as much as you can. You need to be hydrated, right? And you need to be moving, right? So if you have a kind of like a smart or like an exercise watch like mine, this will give you your step count, right? A lot of people are in like an average of like maybe below 2,000 steps.
So how many steps would you recommend?
I would say a decent amount would be at least 6,000.
6,000 steps a day?
Yeah. 5 to 6,000 at least, right? So I
don't think the average person gets that. I don't think I get that.
You probably do. Depends on like... So it's interesting because it depends on like factors. Like, does your office... Is it up a few staircases? Does your house have a few staircases to go up and down? Right? Those kinds of things will manipulate your steps, right? Do you take the bus to work? Do you take a car? And like, just to give you a rough idea, right? Just a 20-minute slow walk will give you about 3,000 steps.
Okay.
So it's not a lot.
Okay.
Right? A very slow. It's not even a jog. Just a usual, casual walk on the beach or walk in the park will give you like 3,000 steps in about 20 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes. Right? So that's your activity levels, right? Sleep, you want to get roughly about at least 7 hours. Right? He's reacting because he's getting very little sleep. So for those of you who don't know, usually people presume I'm sleep deprived when you have like 2 hours of sleep or 3 hours of sleep or something like that. But the marker for being sleep deprived is anything below 6.5 hours.
Yeah, the thing is, I think the past, from the time I was about 20 to about 24, I always thought to myself that 5.5 to 6 hours of sleep was more than enough.
Okay.
And I was also programmed by my parents to kind of wake up early. And so for
Yeah.
me, even now, sleeping late is not something I would like to do. Like
Yeah.
even if I sleep late, like let's say I sleep at about 2, 3 in the morning, I still want to be up and about by latest 8.
100%.
So even now, yesterday when I slept, it was about 1:30, right? And for me, today I slept till about 8. And to me, that was really, really good. That's about, right, 6.5 hours of sleep, roughly. And for me, that was perfect. Like, for me, that was great. But more and more, I start to realize now, before 5 hours of sleep, I was fresh, I was golden. Now, 5 hours of sleep is starting to kind of weigh down on me.
Yeah.
That is also because I believe there are, so with my 5 hour to 6 hour days, there are also days where I sleep like 2 to 3 hours as well. And so it all accumulates and then I start to feel bad.
Yeah.
So sleep is a big factor, and I actually notice when I'm not sleeping, I start to put on weight little by little.
100%.
Yeah. Contrary to what a lot of people believe, though. A lot of people believe when you don't sleep or when you are sleep deprived, you get thinner. You start to lose fat.
No, actually, so who was it? Stan Efferding, he has a video on this. Maybe I should drop the link on the description here.
Yeah.
But he was like, when he has his fat loss clients, right? He prescribes and focuses on them getting more sleep instead of even the activity levels.
Damn. That makes sense, bro. Because for me, again, when I sleep like 7 hours, 8 hours, and I wake up in the morning, like I look a lot more
exactly
thinner.
I know exactly what you're telling.
Yeah.
Because when I have my sleep deprived days as well, I just wake up kind of laggy and
bloated. I feel bloated.
Exactly.
Like,
so that was I can't remember the exact numbers, but the less sleep you get, your body loses its capacity to actually lose fat.
damn.
I can't
Well, that
remember the exact
explains
numbers. So sleep is vital. So if you even think of it as like a bit of a triangle of sleep, food, and exercise, right? Now you don't have to treat them in isolation, right? All three of them need to be working together, right? And you need to, based on your life and your context, you need to optimize each to its capacity, right? So if you're only getting 6 hours of sleep, that's okay, right? You can sleep 6 hours. Just because you're getting 6 or maybe even let's say 5 hours of sleep doesn't mean you suddenly stop exercising completely, right? Because some people might go down that route of like, hey, I'm not sleeping 6 hours.
Oh, that's exactly what I'm doing. The reason I'm not working out right now is because I feel like I'm not getting enough sleep.
Okay.
And I constantly feel tired.
Okay.
Right? So my thing is, if I'm this tired and I hit the gym as well, I can't get any work done.
Okay.
And so for me, the obvious thing is to just cut out the workout and focus on my work. And what I'm thinking is, okay, later on, when things are more stable, I can get back to working out.
Yeah, but so this is based on something I was reading recently as well. The benefit of the exercise is better than trying to worry too much about the sleep. So even if you're sleeping 5 hours, get the workout in. It doesn't have to be something, I think, also with you. It's that like do or die, all in or all out workouts. So this is where I think, because let's say the sleep is not a 10 out of 10. It's maybe like a 7 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10. Your workouts also don't have to go at a 10 out of 10. Just needs to go at like a 6 out of 10.
Just need to get something
in. Because right now, if there's nothing, that's bad.
So let's say someone, okay, now this is a very extreme scenario. Imagine someone's like 100, 120 kilos.
Okay.
They're obese.
Okay.
Full on obese. Realistically, how long would it take for someone like that to then cut down and get to a healthy level? Let's say 70, 75 kilos.
I'll need to crunch the numbers on that one. Hold on.
No, just roughly, like how long would it take? What would a person have to do? Because there are certain IELTS topics, like I think we were just looking at one earlier, that a lot of people nowadays are obese because of the food they are eating and all of that. And what is the reason for that, and what can people do to rectify that situation? So I'm just asking, if people get a topic like that, what can they kind of write there?
Okay, so to get about it is to just figure out first. I think you just need to understand like it's gonna take a long time, right? I think Andy also had put one of his reels out recently, talking about how there are finite games and infinite games, right? Where finite games is you play to win, and you play to get this result, right? Whereas infinite games is the goal is to just keep playing forever. And fitness is an infinite game, right? So anyone who's currently obese or unhealthy, or there's something that is troubling them with their health, the first thing you need to kind of understand and set your expectations is that you want to find something that you can keep doing, right? Because if you come to the point where, okay, I'm ready to get started, I'm ready to roll, let's get it done, motivation will be very high. You'll do everything, then you'll crash, right? And that's probably where if you happen to hire a coach, that person will be there to kind of guide you to figure out, okay, hey, these are the metrics that we are going to kind of track, right? This is how we know you're going to progress, because sometimes it's not just the scale weight, right? There are so many other factors, from mood, energy, better sleep, maybe you can walk more, you're not losing your breath when you walk up the steps, right? There's so much beyond the scale weight and the mirror for you to kind of track where you are in this fitness journey of yours, right? The scale and the mirror are still good kind of places to track, but there are much more things beyond that, and I think those are like the scale weight, and then the mirror is going to be the things people obsess over, and they lose track of everything else, and they probably don't understand. So probably one of the biggest things is also just the fact that you came and worked out is a win, right? I think most people don't really understand that hey, I came and worked out, I got my exercise in, and I left, and that's probably the most important thing. Whereas they'll work out, and within that workout itself they're trying to look for like a PR, or this is not going up, that's not going up, my weights are not increasing, this or that kind of thing, right?
What's the best type of, okay, let's say someone's that's just getting into fitness.
Okay.
How do they start?
Go for a walk.
Oh, that's exactly what I do. I don't walk. I hit the Stairmaster.
Go for a walk. Especially if you're that obese kind of person. Maybe Stairmaster, I don't know. If you're so absurdly heavy, Stairmaster may wreck your knees.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the capacity to, me doing Stairmaster is fine because I'm 60 kilos.
Yeah.
My legs can handle that way. If I was 120 kilos, that'll be a different story. I probably won't be able to survive on the Stairmaster myself.
Yeah.
But
the best thing is go for a walk.
Go for a walk. If you're completely unfit, just start walking daily. Go for a 30-minute walk daily, 30 to 40 minutes daily. I can guarantee if you're in this segment that you just mentioned, within 30 days you'll start losing weight. Or you'll feel a difference if you don't do sweat. Bare minimum. Just 30 minutes walk every day.
What changes can people make to their diet?
I think with Sri Lanka, more protein. If you go to any
more
kind
chicken.
of more meats,
maybe
more eggs, the more kadala, mungada kind of things. If you order a lunch packet from any Sri Lankan restaurant, you'll have a tiny piece of one piece of meat, and then probably maybe 500 grams of rice in there. Carbs are not bad for you. It's just we overconsume carbs, and I think in Sri Lanka, a lot of the rural areas, they are kind of diabetic or whatever, even though they are very active people or whatnot. And
so
the
amount of rice they eat.
Yeah,
and if you look at the Sri Lankan body structure, everybody has a big stomach, and that stomach is what we really try hard to lose.
Yeah.
And I feel that stomach comes as a result of us eating rice 3 meals a day.
Maybe not. It's really hard to say rice is the issue. Because if we put rice aside, right?
Yeah.
People drink on the weekends.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but I'm saying across the board, something that everybody does is eat rice.
Even the poor man
Eats rice, bro?
Eats rice and then he'll get his gal bottle from somewhere.
That of course you don't know.
I cannot.
Yeah.
But yeah, because even in the more like village areas in our country, meats are very expensive still for those people, and the only thing they're eating is rice. So it's not a well balanced diet. It's like a standard traditional Sri Lankan diet is quite healthy. If you take it served in the correct portions, because you'll have rice, you'll have all the varieties of vegetables. Right? So all the colors. So there's a concept called eating the rainbow. Right?
I've heard of that. Yeah.
So for vegetables, you always want to have all the different colors because they hold their unique vitamins and minerals in it. Right? So a Sri Lankan diet has the entire rainbow, and then you'll have the meats as well. Right? Probably meats can improve a little bit. But yeah, man. I was talking to
and
Cody.
you feel good after eating rice. I think that for me, that's the main thing. Like I could have a burger, I could have pizza, and I feel bad afterwards. Like I enjoy it while I'm eating it, but after I have it, I'm just like, why did I have this?
Yeah.
With rice, you never feel that.
Yeah, I think also because from a young age, it's almost like that palate that we develop. We love the rice.
It feels full. For me,
It's feeling.
now it's let's say like if I have a burger from Street Burger or wherever, while I'm having it, it's the best meal in the world. It's just like, wow, I love this burger, it's awesome, whatever. But after I have it, I'm just like, now I feel fat, I feel bloated, why did I have this, whatever. I've never felt that way with rice. Like I get full, but I'm happy. Like, it's calm and,
I guess that I feel that comes a lot more to culture. Because I was speaking to Cody one day, and then he's in Kuwait right now, right? And he was talking about the Gulf, and like all they eat, bro, is just steak and meat and like they're jacked. And like
meat is different. What I'm saying is when you have carbs in another form, like burgers and stuff, it's just carbohydrates, right?
No, I think that's also because of the fast food and the oils and
oily. Yeah, correct.
It's not. I would say maybe fast food places. It's not always like a fresh oil.
Yeah,
that things are cooked in, right? They use the same oil and keep cooking the same things. It's very oily, and you feel kind of whatever after you eat it, right? Because it's kind of just heavy on the system. You probably can't train straight after it unless you're like really hungry. There is that sense. It depends on like how that burger is made and who makes the burger. If you're having like one of those crispy chicken, the one put in the freaking breadcrumbs and deep fried and all that, then you'll almost feel thirsty after it, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, but overall, I think doing some sort of physical activity is very important.
100%.
Eating well is very important. Sleeping 7+ hours a day is important. And overall, paying attention to your health is probably the most important thing you should be doing. And I'm speaking to myself when I say this. Because at the end of the day, you can earn all the money in the world. You can have everything you want. But if you're unhealthy, if you have diabetes, you have cholesterol, you have all the sicknesses that comes with bad health, all that money is just then spent on you trying to get healthy again.
Exactly. So right now, right, since you brought it up, so I would say to kind of know, for you to know kind of where you are with your actual health is to get the test done, your blood test.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can be sometimes very lean, and having muscle and all that, but some things may be off without you knowing it.
Yeah.
Right? And we've been kind of collaborating with this clinic called Vida. And we've been having a lot of guys come in and do their tests. And all of these guys are over 40, right? And all of them are having low testosterone.
Okay.
We've tested a few of ourselves. Our testosterone is fine. Andy's is okay. Obviously, Dimi is fine. For those of you who don't know, Dimi, we will throw like a photo somewhere here. But all these guys, they're just like a little bit unfit. The body fat is a little bit there, and then just the testosterone levels are just borderline low. And right now we're just like working with the doc and working with ourselves to see like how to approach it. One of the guys actually are like significantly low in testosterone, and he's actually been prescribed testosterone replacement therapy.
Damn.
Because it's like alarmingly low. And
What
these
is it?
and these factors are a little bit coming in the same line of people who tend to smoke quite often, drink quite often. Those two factors have been playing a role, and a little bit of excessive body fat. And when I say excessive, it means you're like above 20% body fat, right? So right now I'm probably about like maybe 13-12%. You might be like about 15, or maybe 17-18%. These people have been having body fat about like 20-25%, that level. And it's just interesting to see because we have never done these tests with our clients before, right? We've never kind of approached that kind of thing and taken this kind of pathway to kind of help them with their fitness, right? So those are just things to keep in mind. You should probably like once a year do like a full body checkup, get all your levels tested, see if you're in the correct numbers,
And just overall try to be healthy. Just be active.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Alright guys, so I think we discussed quite a number of things today. So if you get a topic on health, fitness, diet, I think you got a lot of points that you can speak about. So thanks Ayoob
No worries.
for coming and having this conversation. You had to travel how long? 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Now you know the distance I have to travel every day
come
to
here
come to your
before, bro.
house. Yeah. But anyway, thanks for coming. And hope you guys got some value out of it. I know you would have got some value out of it. If you watched this video till the end, thank you very much. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Share this with a friend. Comment down below if this was useful to you. And till our next video,
Do I say something?
no one,
Do I have to say
no
something?
one gets the tagline right.
You never told me the tagline to get it right.
You're supposed to watch my videos and know the tagline. Shape, it's till our next video.
Keep practicing. Right. Yeah, keep practicing.
Let's try that again. Till our next video.
Keep practicing.